We got Josh Cato here. He's going to show us how to do the whole setup process for the Wind Explorer app, and what the process is for that whenever you go out to the field and you need to do your measurements. So
Sure,
Josh,
sure.
take it
So
away.
first of all, I'll talk about the mount here. This is a special 3D printed mount here. And this is for purchase through the BFA. I donated them to them so they could make a little bit of money on that. And it has a
The BFA
Balloon Federation of America. You can
BFA
order
shop on BFA.net.
Absolutely, you can get it online. And then what that does is basically put all the components together. So we have a standard tripod here that you can get anywhere. On the bottom of the mount, it has a connector that you can put any type of tripod mount you want. And then also we have a standard gun scope of whatever you like. And then it has a RAM mount here that's universal for any device that works good for a phone. And we designed it with off of that because it has the holes in the front of this and it just fits really well on this mount. So,
nice.
So once you get that put on here and you get everything set up, you get out to your launch site, this is pretty much what you should be looking like. So next you take your phone out, and I know it's kind of quick, but hey, it's not rocket science here. Then you'll open up the Wind Explorer app, and then one of the main important parts is that you want the earpiece facing away from where you're at, and the microphone should be facing towards you. If you know the size of your pieball or it's changed for this flight, you can just hit rate of climb right here. You can adjust that number and calculate the rate. So if you're running low on propane or on helium and you're only about a 12-inch pieball, you can do the adjustments on here.
Okay.
Then the big part is you should make sure you get this mount fitted well for your phone. So you can see it fits very well in there in the mount. So at this point, the next step was, if you were my person with the pieball, have you stand right in front of it and hold it right there. And then I would be like 3, 2, 1, 0, and I'm hitting the start button. And that starts the calculations on the screen. And then, of course, I'm going to be looking through my scope following that pieball. And you can see that surface reading come up right then, and you can see that on the screen. And as the other video that we're going to add to this demonstrates is the process of going through reading the pieball. But at this point, the main points with this, wait for it to quit beeping, is to make sure that you don't move this mount. I'll hit stop here so we can talk. But the biggest thing is that once this is steady, this is what gives you the best readings. Yep. We know we can use it without a mount by holding it in your hand. But if you're moving a little bit or get off, that makes it
have any like kind of play or whatever.
Absolutely. The more you have that, the up closer, you're not going to realize that, but the farther away you get, then that's where you're going to see the big differences of using a mount that's stationary to the ground. So kind of the things that I've learned is that if you're not in a very windy area, is get a mount that lifts up. So this can stay stationary, and you can be like this right here of your first couple of readings, which makes it kind of hard. Yep. But then you can just follow it on through and you're good to go. And then make sure that all three of your legs stay on the ground all the time. If you move this like that, that's changing your readings. Right. So it's that standard secure platform that we're looking for to get the best readings for the pieball readings. Okay.
So like with a regular theodolite, you have to like do a bunch of sort of setup, make sure it's pointing at true north and level out with the horizon. Do you have to do any of that, or can you just slap it on?
You know, you just slap it on there and turn it on the screen. We ask that you be at least 50 foot away, 100 foot away from any metal objects or anything like that, like we were talking about earlier. Yep. We have seen that mess up readings just because of that. Make sure no one's keying up on their handheld radio next to you when you're taking the reading.
Anything that can just cause interference.
Absolutely. Big power lines, you know, we don't like those anyway, so just stay away from those. And then it will come on the screen. If it doesn't say high on the compass, it will not let you take the reading. So you need to calibrate the compass or relocate to a better location to make sure you get that set up first.
Cool.
So.
And then like, say you knocked it over or you missed one of the readings.
You know, let's say that you or someone came by and bumped it, or you missed the reading, or it wasn't right on the target in the crosshairs. Yep. Or you can, what I like to do is have someone stand beside me when I take my readings. Yeah. So they're kind of watching that for me. So if I yank on it or get a bad reading, like, hey, there's a bad reading, Josh. I'm like, oh yeah, hit the invalidate button. Yep. So then they just click invalidate button on the screen for me because I'm focusing on the pieball alone. So it works really good to have a partner to do that for you. And then that way, or if I miss a reading, I'm like, hey, I was off on that one, invalidate that reading. Then it takes it out of the reading, out of the calculation, and goes to the next one. So it kind of gives us a fault deal to fix things if we mess up during the reading.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thanks for showing that off. And we'll have a little screen share of Al explaining the app right after this.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
So here's an example of how you use the app. The first thing we need to do is actually find the app. And we're going to go up here and we're going to search for it, BFA Wind Explorer. And Wind Explorer fires up. And I want to point out to you, there's some information on here. This is in the vertical format right now because that's how we normally would look at the information. And when I say, I shouldn't say vertical format, it's more of the landscape format. And there's a bunch of settings on here. You see the compass status over here on the lower left says high. Rate of climb, I've already pre-programmed that. I'm going to hit over here and I'm going to hit my settings menu. And here's where you're going to see all the choices that you get to make. Do you want MSL or AGL? What is, if it's MSL, do you want to use the GPS or do you prefer to manually enter that? How fast does your balloon on your pieball go up? We call it the rate of climb coefficient. In this case, it will probably be, in this case, I'm using a pieball that climbs at 500 watt. And I go over here and look at units, 500 feet per minute. But if you're used to another unit, feet per second, meters per minute, whatever you want, we've tried to include everything for you. Go down here to wind speed units. I personally prefer kilometers per hour, but if you like knots or miles per hour, you can pick whatever you choose. And then do you want the winds going from or to? And you can see here and close to the middle of the screen that you can toggle that on. That's winds from. There's going to be winds to. Tracking aids, that's the audible warning that you will hear momentarily. Type of north. Do I want magnetic north, true north, or grid north? And it gives you an option to set some offsets in those so that it, in essence, grid north become manually set north if you wish. And then down here below, it's going to give you the options to, this is the pro version, to post information over to Google Sheets or over to your Google Drive so that you can keep the information. Rather than go through advanced settings right now, I am going to hit on that so you can see what it is and what else is up there. So it gives you some other add-ons that you may wish to have, things that most anybody wouldn't care about if the mean filter is on, but that just helps eliminate a little bit of the shake. So now that we've got that and we're satisfied with all of our settings, we're going to release our pieball, and as soon as we do, I'm going to hit the start button. So here we go, we hit start, and the pieball is climbing. You can see that it currently has a height of 60 some odd feet, and it's going to take a reading here momentarily. But you'll notice it says surface because that's going to be my first reading. 245 degrees 2, that's how I like to get my winds, and the speed 10.9 kilometers per hour. Now, you notice how the height suddenly jumped to 900 feet, and how could that be when over here on height we show 270 some odd feet? That's because we are in MSL altitude. But there is a little calculation going on inside. It is staging when it takes the readings so that you have nice even increments of height. So 900, 1,000, 1,100, etc., rather than trying to have something in there that says 1,124 feet, which everybody knows we rounded anyhow. So this is not just rounding it, it's actually making sure that's where the samples are occurring. So let's lower the phone a bit. So I've lowered it, you can't see that, but I've just lowered the elevation of the phone, and you're going to notice suddenly that the wind speeds got much, much faster, which indicates that the pieball has been blown at a faster rate and hence lower onto the horizon. Let's imagine this on the next reading. I'm going to elevate this much higher. I'm just moved it up to about a 45-degree angle, which should indicate that the pieball is coming back towards me. And let's see what happens. Instead of 251 degrees, look at that, it's now 66, almost 180 degrees difference, which for handheld's not all bad. And you can see how the speed really took off. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what it does and how it works. Now I'm going to hit the stop button, and when I do, there's the photograph or the graphical representation of where my pieball just went. So those of you who are visual on your winds, it gives you all that information, and then down below it gives you tabular data. So I hope you enjoy the app. If you have any issues or want to discuss it on the Facebook page, please feel free to contact us.